The Tarot Snapshot for Sunday, April 28th is coming to us right now. I want to thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your digital life to lean into this message and learn as much as I am learning from this message. I hope you do too. Now, the Tarot Snapshot, 3 cards. The first one shows us who we are, where we're at in life right now. Second card shows us what vexes and perplexes. Third card shows us what heals and reveals. I set the intention right now that this is a message for you if you're watching this video, as well as me, as I benefit from the messages of tarot so much. I don't know why I have to bring this up, but I want to give you a little bit of insight in something that can make you stronger. Now, I've heard the expression, and I've just talked about this recently, so bear with me as I talk about it again. I've heard this expression that comparison is the thief of joy. I don't know how much I buy into that. I believe comparison can be a thief of joy, but I also believe comparison can be a bringer of joy in this way. Now, when we count our blessings, when we compare our lives to those who don't have those blessings, then we find so much strength in that. For instance, there are things in my life that I wish were different. I think we all have things in our life that we could wish were different. But then, just this week, I started literally counting my blessings, going, okay, I have a wonderful son. There are so many people in this world that aren't able to have children. Well, I have a wonderful son. I have a wonderful husband. There are people that don't have a partner. I have a wonderful partner. I've got a home over my head. There are people that don't have a home. And I start to count those blessings, and it's like I'm subtracting the things that were bothering me. So I know that it's kind of hokey, and I know that it's sort of like a new age buzzword, but gratitude and counting your blessings is such a powerful exercise. I think that we have to take it out of the idea of a concept and actually bring it into being. You know, you hear that expression, count your blessings. How many people actually sit down and count their blessings? If you're feeling displaced, if you're feeling put out, or you feel like things should or could be different for you, I'm not asking you not to hope or dream. I'm asking you to literally sit down and maybe write out all of the blessings that you have, so you gain a sense of gratitude instead of that comparison that can rob you from joy. The card that represents us this week, Judgment. All right, so I love this. I geek out over this. This really lines up well with what I was just talking about. So this is that idea of rebirth, resurrection, change for the better. There is a calling, a higher calling up here, right, to bring people up. And I think, like, I consider this your blessings that you're counting, or at least you're listening to, and how it can give you new life. That these people, well, the Judgment card is based off of the Judgment Day mythologies or mythos and the Catholic stuff, the Judgment Day, you know, all of that. Well, there's this idea of rebirth and regeneration, right? Here's your blessings. Here's that gratitude calling you up to become new again, okay? And I think we all need that. I think we all can get stuck in these stories and these ruts and these patterns. The card that vexes and perplexes us is, it's hard for us to move on. This is the card of moving on, gaining wisdom, gaining a higher perspective around things that don't serve us anymore. Sometimes we get stuck. I just said that. How do we get unstuck? Now, if there's a story that we're stuck in, how do we get unstuck? Left to our own devices, nobody else is coming to save us. Remember, we're saving ourselves. How do we get unstuck out of those stories? We tell ourselves a new story. I'll give you, for instance, okay. I was born in 1979, and I knew from a very early age that I was a gay person. I knew that I couldn't share it with anybody. I just had to hide it. And I think a lot of people in that position around that time would be able to recognize that. Now, I could tell myself this story of, oh, the poor person who was born into the wrong time and born into the wrong family and stuck in that way. Or I could tell myself the story of a very special person who knew he had to keep himself safe from a world that didn't understand him, and who had to sort of incubate himself like a caterpillar in a cocoon until he could come out of that cocoon at a later time. I much appreciate that other version than the sad version. And it's, again, all depending how I look at that story. The card that heals and reveals when we have a hard time getting unstuck or getting away from the things that no longer serve us, the card that heals and reveals is this. The Emperor. Okay. The Emperor card is, I like to call this the Santa Claus card, because this is the ideal version of Big Daddy energy. You know, think of the protector, the noble provider that Santa Claus can give us. Gentle guidance, being assertive with ourselves, going, nope, kiddo, this is not the right path. Here we go. This is the other path. And I don't know why I have to tell this story. I had a neighbor. She's no longer my neighbor. She might actually end up watching this. I had a neighbor who divorced her husband and had to go move and, you know, do all of that. Now, she could tell herself the story that she stayed in this marriage for too long. She could tell herself all sorts of things. She stayed in the marriage too long. She had to move out of the house. She got the, short end of the stick, what have you. Or she could tell herself the story of a woman who persevered and survived when she did the best she could with the limited amount of experience that she had. And now she finds herself in a position where it's not ideal, but she still has a home, she has her freedom, she's not in that loveless marriage anymore. And I think that that Emperor card, that Big Daddy energy, is that loving, assertive nature that says, hey, remember, you survived. You've got this, kid. And I think, we all can benefit from giving ourselves big mama energy, a loving energy. That's not to say this is unloving. I think this is a little bit more of, remember how strong you are. Remember, your chutzpah. Remember the force that you have, the magnificence that you are in terms of rewriting that story. So I'm going to ask you to take a look at some of the stories that you're telling yourself in ways that aren't exactly useful, not exactly fair. And how can you turn those stories around and look at them from a different perspective so you can gain clarity and understanding of a more objective perspective, something that's more fair to you and something that you can find inspiration through, and not so much like heartache. Remember, it's the stories we tell ourselves that create the lives that we live. And I'm going to tell myself the story of somebody who's creative and somebody who's a survivor. I want you to tell yourself the same. I know you can, and it's so worth it. So be well this week. Think about the stories that you tell yourself, and think about what new stories you can tell yourself to help inspire you and uplift you so you can become a better, brighter version of yourself. Much love to you. Take care. We'll see you next time.